ODSBU-T tells the system to do a tidy backup, which is to take a new backup and remove any old backups which are no longer needed. ODSBU-X does the same, except it doesn't take a new backup. The final command will record a comment of weekly backup in the backup control file. Of course, it's pointless taking backups of your DSA if you store the backups on the same machine as your data source. We would recommend that you move the backups off your machine as soon as they have completed. This will protect them in the event of catastrophic disk failure or through the loss of the server itself through fire or theft. Just as ODSBU is the tool created to create a backup of the DSA, ODSRC is the tool used to recover from those backups. ODSRC is usually run in an empty directory, but to recover data to an existing DSA, the DSA must be stopped for ODSRC to run. The default behavior for ODSRC, when it is executed with no parameters, is to take the last full backup on the system and recover it to the current working directory, and then apply the updates stored in the update logs. You can also suppress application of the update logs if, for example, you need to recover data deleted in error. The usage of ODSRC is shown here. Let's take a couple of example operations. Here's a list of the backups we have. 2 full backups, 10 and 13, and 2 incremental backups, 11 and 12. The first example, ODSRC-B10, tells the system to start from backup 10 and apply all changes to all files between backup 10 and the current system. The second example, ODSRC-B10-S12, recovers the database from backup 10 and applies all changes made in backup 11 to non-database files like the exec file and the properties file. The database files will have the update logs applied, so will be updated to the last good version. In this example, ODSRC-B10-S13-O, we are telling the system that we want to recover the database from backup number 10, apply any changes to data and non-data files up to backup 12, and stop there, including operations in the update logs. The second example, ODSRC-B10-S13-N, will recover the database from backup 10, apply all non-database changes between 10 and 12, and apply no updates. In this case, the data will be a snapshot of the data as it was when backup 10 was taken. Non-database files will be as they were when backup 12 was taken. Let's take a look at some simple backup and restore operations. You can see here I'm logged into my system and I'm logged in as the root user. First thing I'm going to do is change to my DSAdmin user and then switch into my DSA working directory. If I call ODSBU with no parameters, it creates my backup file and the backup 1F. If I go into the backup 1F directory, you can see we have the core files for the database. This is the ds.c, ds.d, ds.d.00, ds.k, and ds.n. These are all the database files. The other files, backup control, backup log, ds properties, du local, exec, for example, are the configuration files for the system. I'm going to go back to my main directory and I'm going to have a look at the backup control file that's created when we do ODSBU. So we can see number equals 5, that's the amount of backups I want to keep. Next equals 2, so the next backup I take will be backup number 2. Then the list of the backups that I already have, backup 1F, and the directory that I want to keep the backups in, which is a subdirectory of the present working directory. In this operation, we configure the amount of backups that we want to take to 10, and you can see that the backup control file is updated to reflect this. Now I'm going to change the directory that I want to store my backups in. You can see I've got a directory there called opcriticalpath backups with full write permissions. So I use ODSBU-D and then point it at my backups directory. You can see that the existing backup is moved and all future backups will be created in the opcritical path backups directory. And the backup control file is updated to reflect this. I'm going to do an incremental backup, odsbu -I. And now I'm just going to populate the backups directory with a bunch of different backups. Now you can see that even though we've specified that we want to keep 5 backups, the system will keep creating backups until you tell it you want to clean up. If we go into our backups directory here, you can see that we have 13 backups. I'm going to change back to my DSA working directory, and I'm going to do a tidy up. So we said we wanted to keep 10, we had 13, so the system removes 1, 2 and 3. Let's take a look at the recovery. First of all, I'm going to do just a simple LDAP search operation to establish the type of data that I have and give me something to compare this to once the recovery has been done. So I do my LDAP search on my current host, bind in using the cn equals manager and manager password. The base for my search is going to be my top level entry, c equals IE. The scope of my search is 1, and my object class filter, I'm just looking for any object class. So we can see at the top level we've got our CP root object and the version 85006. Take a fresh backup of the system, and I'm going to stop the DSA using my ODS stop command. Now I'm in the DSA working directory. I'm going to remove all of my files, and obviously when I do my LDAP search here I can't connect to the LDAP server because the process is stopped and the configuration information is now missing. So with my DSA shut down, I'm going to do my ODSRC. I use the -D to say where the backups are, and you can see that it automatically picks backup 14F as the last full backup. It applies the update logs, and once I start the DSA, I do my LDAP search and I get the same results back again. So a very simple example of how to use the ODSBU and ODSRC commands.